I looked at 14 Buc-ees driving over here. I pulled them all up on Google Maps as I was doing it. Athens, Alabama. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's in rural country. Auburn, Alabama. It's an industrial commercial complex. Closest neighborhood is about 3 miles away. Leeds, Alabama. Commercial. It's the only one where I could find a house within a mile, and they put it in, and there's about 2 acres worth of woods in between Buc-ee's and the house. Loxley, Alabama, middle of nowhere. Daytona, Florida, commercial industrial complex. St. Augustine, Florida, industrial commercial complex. Calhoun, Georgia, industrial commercial complex. Warner Robins, Georgia, rural, middle of nowhere. Richmond, Kentucky, my home state, rural, middle of nowhere. Springfield, Missouri, industrial commercial complex. And I go on. Florence, South Carolina, my favorite one, commercial, rural. The 2 in Tennessee, commercial, industrial. Denton, Texas, I heard from a gentleman tonight when I walked in that that one's near a neighborhood and they had to put up a giant wall so that the lights wouldn't hit the neighborhood. And then the newest one in New Kent County, Virginia, which is as y'all probably know, the fastest growing county in the United States. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's nowhere near a neighborhood. So location, location, location. You heard 20,000 cars. I'm a math guy. The budget folks in my old job used to laugh at me because I would break it down to the pennies. I looked at Google reviews, and believe it or not, they show traffic patterns for all these Buc-ee's. Between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., about 70% of the occupants go through that building. That's roughly 14,000 cars during those hours going in and out of Buc-ee's. Florence, South Carolina, 2 Saturdays ago, I was there at Buc-ee's getting my beaver nuggets, bringing my daughter home. I had to wait through 4 traffic lights to get off the highway. I was sitting on I-95 in traffic, waiting to get to Buc-ee's. I love it. Look at Google Maps every once in a while on a Saturday and pick up a Buc-ee's, and you'll see a lot of red around them. Believe it or not, it shows it.
I just want to tell you a quick little story. I drove back from Florida on Sunday, and I decided I was going to stop at Buc-ee's. I like Buc-ee's. Clean bathrooms. I can get a snack. It's a great place. But as I was approaching from southbound, going north, the line at the exit was ridiculous. And I thought, there's no way I'm getting in that line. It was backed onto the interstate. And I really thought it was a great decision when the car to the left of me cut off the car in front of me to get over to Buc-ee's and then stopped in that lane so he could get in between cars to exit. As I continued driving, and thank God I was not hit or anything, I looked at the overpass. And traveling eastbound on the overpass, it was complete gridlock. Cars were not moving. And then as I went underneath and I looked in my rearview mirror, westbound, complete gridlock, cars not moving. This was Sunday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Florence, South Carolina. This 48 hours ago. Then I got past and I looked at the Buc-ee's. It has a similar layout as they're proposing here, with the exit on the north part of the property, and there's a traffic circle and then 3 turn lanes to get out of there. I've been in there. I've been in there for several iterations of the traffic light. Cars were not even moving out of Buc-ee's. They couldn't. There was complete gridlock. And all I thought to myself was, my elderly father is at our house. He lives in assisted living in the Hartwood area. And he falls and bangs his head, and I call EMS. Station 2 is what responds to my home. And they can't get there because of all the traffic. They're delayed minutes. They'll eventually get there, and then they have to get him to the hospital, and they go back in the other direction, and they have, again, delays to try to get him there. And I can't speak for any of you, but I can assure you that the $2 million that Stafford might get from this, my father's life is worth way more than that. He's 84 years old. His life is worth way more than that. My child goes to Colonial Forge High School. If something happened in the high school and emergency services couldn't get there, none of this, at the end of the day, these are lemons, and the juice is not worth the squeeze. We have got to do better for Stafford County. We've got to do better for our students. We have to do better for our elderly residents who need EMS services, and that could hinder them there. You're putting an assisted living place up near Walmart. People are going to be exiting Garrisonville and heading south on Mine Road and Garrisonville Road. I implore you to do better.
The Buc-ee's project summary states Buc-ee's is a pit stop known for their pristine bathrooms. Stafford County needs to be more than just a pit stop.
We do pay a CDA fee, which is $1,682 annually for single-family homes over a period of 30 years. With about 1,500 single-family homes, I'm trying to take out the townhouses who pay a different amount. That's generating over $75 million that residents of Embrey Mill have paid towards the infrastructure around the Embrey Mill neighborhood. Roads that will be destroyed by the traffic increase that Buc-ee's will bring. Those are numbers that everyone has mentioned, based on the CUP that the Buc-ee's people submitted, over 20,000 cars on average per day. Peak hour, 2,174 cars will be in and out of that area. I am a member of the Neighborhood Watch Committee for Embrey Mill. I'm also a member of the Travel Committee for the school district, and I thought it was really interesting. Buc-ee's is saying they're going to have 833 parking spaces, and we can't even find places to park our buses. That's another thing. If there's anything I've learned since building a home in Stafford County, it is not to put much stock in the developers' or builders' promises. They did promise Embrey Mill residents a school in our neighborhood when it was a promise they could make, and the school board got to decide where the school went, and it's not there. So how can we then believe the promises of Buc-ee's and the developers of Buc-ee's and what they're going to do and what they'll bring to our neighborhood? I'm not a big math person, a public math person especially, but I can probably guess that the more people that are in an area, the higher chance there is for crime. So the crime rate is probably going to increase, and our Stafford County Sheriff's Office is amazing, and they do a lot with everything, but they're understaffed as everybody, and I can't imagine with the increase of people coming into this area, how that's going to impact the crime in our neighborhoods, especially Austin Ridge and Embrey Mill.
I was here a few weeks ago, and I did speak to you guys addressing some of the concerns I had. There was only a few of us who were here last time, and that was only on April 16th, I believe, when I addressed the board. Now there's a lot more of us. We're getting more organized, we're getting more advanced with what's going on here, and a lot of us are not happy. It's pretty much woken up a sleeping giant. A lot of us didn't know each other, but now we do know each other well. And this is just the first step of getting involved, not just with Buc-ee's, what's going on here, but other issues that we're seeing, where what's missing here in this county with the school in Embrey Mill, with the library that's owed, with the fire rescue, and the county parks. There's so much that should be done here that's not happening. It's disappointing.
I feel Buc-ee's in my neighborhood would damage it in a way that we would never recover from. Buc-ee sounds like a fun place to stop on a road trip, but it does not belong in our neighborhood. Rodney Thompson is a school attended by students from my neighborhood. My students tell me stories of spending the whole day at Rouse and enjoying that. The traffic they would experience and the dangers they would encounter at a transient place such as Buc-ee's would be unfortunate and possibly tragic.
I don't like crowds. I didn't buy a home in Woodbridge because it was too crowded. We chose Stafford because we thought we could retire here once my husband retired from the Army. And I'm heartbroken that we would put a 75,000 square foot, for common words, a truck stop in the neighborhood where I like to walk, I like to run, I like my neighbors being able to play soccer at the soccer fields. As someone spoke about, they said that they looked on Google at the Buc-ee's locations. I looked at 23 of them, okay? 4 of the 23 are in residential areas. 1 is in an area where they're building apartments. The apartments are under construction. They haven't even started. So, in my opinion, those people, if they choose to live in those apartments, that's their right. We didn't choose to live next to a truck stop. We chose, and my husband and I did our research. We looked at where we wanted to be in an area that gave us a sense of community. And I do feel like I have a community here in Embrey Mill and Austin Ridge. However, when I looked at the other 4 locations that were close to residential areas. 3 of them were rural areas, and so they had a lot of space between them and the Buc-ee's. I would just like to ask you, when it comes before you, that you take a look at what it brings. Our unemployment rate at this point is 2.5%, I think. So it's not like we have a lot of people who are looking for this entry-level job. I do think we need a more advanced employment base. I do think we need more community activities, places where we can go as a community and enjoy Stafford County.